crowd outside the old stone building was buzzing with excitement. The royal address was about to begin. Charles, dressed in a sharp navy suit, stood at the podium, his posture regal. But the nerves beneath his calm exterior were palpable. He took a deep breath, surveying the faces in front of him. This was more than just a speech. It was a turning point. As he began speaking about the importance of tradition, the crown, and unity, a sharp sound broke through the air. A loud thud, followed by a chorus of murmurs. A group of young protesters had gathered in the crowd, and suddenly, without warning, eggs were hurled toward the stage, splattering the royal emblem on Charles's podium. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Charles, momentarily stunned, took a step back. The protesters' voices grew louder, their chants ringing in the air. End the monarchy. Power to the people. Their faces, full of anger and frustration, sent a wave of tension across the crowd. It was a spectacle, a storm of emotion that swirled around the royal family's very existence. Charles's security guards rushed forward, shielding him from the enraged group, and ushered him back inside the safety of the royal vehicle. The protesters were quickly subdued, but the damage was done. The moment was everywhere. The cameras, the social media posts, the angry reactions from both sides. As Charles sat in the car, the echoes of the protest still rang in his ears. He leaned back, his eyes fixed on the rolling streets outside. The noise of the world, the voices of his countrymen, the sharp divide between generations felt louder than ever before. He thought about the England he knew, the England he loved, the years spent learning the duties of the crown, the traditions passed down through his ancestors. He remembered being a child, standing beside his mother, watching the people celebrate the monarchy. He'd been taught to love this country, to honor the crown, and all it represented. Yet as he gazed out at the faces on the streets, the faces of the youth who had protested his very existence, he couldn't help but question. What had gone wrong? Was the monarchy still relevant? And were the voices of these young people, loud, defiant, really so wrong? He didn't have the answers, but one thing was clear. The monarchy needed to evolve. The world around him was changing, and it was time for the crown to adapt. The next day, in an unexpected move, Charles made an announcement. He would meet with the protesters, not in anger, but with an open heart and an open mind. He would hear them out, understand their concerns, and explore how they could work together to reshape the monarchy in a way that resonated with the modern world. The meeting took place at Buckingham Palace. The group of young protesters, once filled with disdain, now sat across from Charles in the opulent palace halls. Their skepticism was evident, but there was also a sense of cautious curiosity in the air. Charles spoke first, his voice steady but filled with sincerity. "I understand your frustration," he began, "and I want you to know, I hear you. The monarchy is not untouchable. We must be willing to change, to evolve, to ensure that it serves all of us, not just the few, but every citizen of this great nation." He paused, allowing his words to settle. The crown has always been about unity, about protecting the values that make England great. But those values, tradition, respect, and duty, must also be flexible enough to meet the needs of a changing world. I believe that the monarchy can evolve, but it will require all of us to work together, to create a new vision, a new chapter. The young protesters exchanged glances. They could feel the sincerity in his words, but the path forward wasn't clear. They knew it wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, they felt heard. Charles outlined a bold idea, a new council of young representatives tasked with advising the crown on the issues that mattered most to their generation. They would work together side by side with a common goal: to ensure the monarchy remained relevant, accountable, and connected to the people it served. The monarchy is a symbol, Charles concluded, but it is also a responsibility I do not take lightly, and I want to ensure that we, the royal family, continue to serve the people in the way they deserve. This is our commitment to you, to all of you, from every walk of life. News of this groundbreaking move spread like wildfire, igniting a ripple of hope across the nation. For the first time in history, the monarchy, the very institution long seen as unyielding, had opened its doors to the voices of its critics. Charles's decision to listen, to adapt, was hailed as both audacious and transformative. The young and the old, tradition and progress, the past and the future, all converged in this delicate dance of unity. The monarchy, once towering as a distant symbol, had taken a step closer to the people, allowing its walls to crack just enough for light to seep through. And as Charles stood before the cameras once more, this time with a renewed sense of purpose, he smiled. The future was uncertain, but one thing was for sure: it would be built together. This wasn't just a moment in history, it was the beginning of a legacy reshaped, and Charles, standing beneath the weight of centuries, had dared to imagine something new.